Welcome to Overgrowth. It's the last best of 5 of the evening, spawning to the bottom left in orange, playing Protoss for rival and the United States. It's Koshkii. And to the top right, in purple, playing Protoss for LDLC and France, it's Miyako. Ooh, going out with a very early probe here, before the first pylon even, going into Forge. Seems as if she wants to cannon rush her opponent. Ooh, just neatly sneaking by Miyako is. So, unfortunately for Koshkii, not realizing what's going on, Miyako actually manages to get his probe inside the main base of her opponent, planting down a pylon as we speak, is already sending another probe that's just the normal scouting probe, so probably just tricking Koshkii into thinking that it would be just the normal scouting probe, when it's actually the second probe that will probably help out with planting down the photon cannons. Don't really know if Miyako would have actually needed to put this cannon that far tucked back into the corner. I think she could have actually even been a little bit more aggressive with that. At that time, Koshkii finally arrives at the base of Miyako, will have probably just realized that a forge is actually the first building. Or maybe not! Maybe not! I think she's not clicked on the building! I think she's just passed the building and didn't click on it, not realizing that it was a forge and not a gateway. Now finally she realizes what's going on. There we have another photon cannon, 2 more photon cannons and a pylon over here. So finally Koshkii realized what's going on, has taken the assimilators over here, so Miyako won't be able to do anything after that. But I don't really know if she actually needs to. Throwing down 2 more photon cannons, 3 more photon cannons over here. Koshkii trying to desperately get down 1 pylon, trying to get out a mothership core, but unfortunately she got supply blocked throughout all of this. Was probably just too nervous, too hectic, trying to deal things. Miyako now even sealing off maybe the front entrance with the pylons, keeping these workers from escaping, and now finally the photon cannons get in. Yeah, and it seems as if Miyako will just probably seal off everything. Ah, does not succeed, just barely. Koshkii gets out with all of her probes. Very unfortunate there for Miyako. If she could have actually kept all of these workers inside the main base, that would have been even more terrible for Koshkii, but I don't really know what she can do. She tries to reestablish herself at the gold base, but I think that's a move that Miyako is probably already assuming. So this Nexus will die for sure. And now actually we have 1 photon cannon in here and 1 pylon more, so there will be no chance whatsoever for Koshkii to smuggle out any of these workers that come out of that Nexus anymore. That was actually the plan right from the get-go. Miyako now just wanting to scout for the possible new Nexus, not realizing that it's over here. At the same point, Miyako also checking for that Nexus over here as well. Did not check for the gold base, which is a little bit odd. I think that's just the typical thing you would look for here. Okay, now sealing off, I don't know. Who's sealing off that? Okay, Miyako just sealing off everything with photon cannons in here. Unfortunately trapping her own probe, so I don't really know if that is really a well thought out build by her. Now finally realizing what's going on, sees that all of the workers are at the gold base or at her side of the map. So now after realizing what's going on, let's see how she's going to react. She has a lot of probes out, so she will be able to even deal more damage. Now even has a gateway planted down, producing a first zealot here, and yeah, unfortunately for her, all of the gases have been taken by Koshkii, so she won't even be able to get a mothership core out anytime soon. But of course, trying to terrorize that worker, that mineral line over here from the low ground. We'll just plant down a pylon, we'll then plant down some cannons down here, and once these finish, the only thing you need to get is high ground vision in order for these cannons to terrorize this mineral line, and then probably Koshkii will not be able to do anything, trying to rebuild her tech by getting the gateways up. In the meantime, we have the cannons trying to shoot down more of the important tech buildings of Koshkii inside the main base. And now the photon cannons will end up finishing. Koshkii just trying to tear down that pylon here with the ping pong balls of the mothership core. I don't really think that it will be enough. 2 pylons now being thrown down. These 2 pylons will get high ground vision, maybe even taking out the mothership core, but Koshkii moves it out of position right in time. Yeah, but what will she do right now? I mean, there are 3 photon cannons threatening all, or just every part of that, trying to take another base down here. What a base race, in another sense of the word. In the meantime, Miyako has managed to finally tear down this annoying assimilator on her own gas geysers, so she will be able to take her own one, will also take out this one as well. Has 3 gateways in the making as well, so has 3 gateways for her, and they are already producing parts. Another gateway down here as well. More and more fights going down everywhere. The photon cannons just trying to take down that assimilator as well. Yeah, the biggest problem for Koshkii, of course, is the no mining. At that point in time, she managed again to secure most of her workers, I feel, and is now even going for long distance mining with the help of that nexus here. But how long can she actually play with that? I mean, the mothership core is actually gathered. Is the mothership core still here? Where is it? There it is. It has actually gathered a lot of energy here, so it will probably be able to throw down a photon overcharge if necessary. But now finally Miyako arrives with the forces. The anti-timing here for Koshkii, unfortunately, taking that mothership core with her, not letting it at home, and now the so important pylon goes down. Cybernetics core has to stop researching. The gateways are unpowered, will not be able, and of course now it's only the mothership core raining down. Well, you can't really say death from above, because like I said, it's more like ping pong balls if you refer to cardboard cartoons. So, wow, I mean, the mothership core will just take forever to take down all of these zealots. The zealots will probably even be able to take down that nexus. Does Miyako already know about the other one? No, she doesn't. And is not even searching for it. So let's see. I think right now she's only focusing on taking down that nexus. Should actually just see all of these probes and where they are moving to. So I think she should already know where her opponent probably is. Okay, we'll now just spend more time taking down all of the important tech buildings once more while producing more and more units. Now the first Stalker is even out that will now be able to deal with the mothership core. It has really generated most of its shield, but its armor has already been damaged. So 1 Stalker should suffice to take the mothership core out, and it will, and while the zealots just take out the remainders of the important tech buildings here, throwing back Koshkii completely once more, who's already trying to get a robotics facility up, and a cybernetics core on the gateway again. She has a pylon out. Will maybe get a mothership core out? No, we'll just get a mothership core out afterwards maybe. And the probes will have to run once more. No? Okay, just sending them back. We'll wait for the mothership core to come out. No, that's actually Miyako's mothership core, never mind. So, Koshkii will now have to pull workers in order to deal with this harassment, but workers never trade well against zealots especially. So it seems as if Miyako might have broken through. Oh, okay, she had, yeah, of course, she couldn't reproduce a mothership core because she had to wait for the cybernetics core to warp in finally, and now she will get it out. Maybe even will be able to hold, but the losses will be so significant at that point in time that I don't think it even matters. There will also only be 1 photon overcharge available, and once Miyako just gets out of the range of that photon overcharge for just a few seconds here, she should probably be easily be able. Oh, and unfortunately Koshkii chose the pylon that was already weakened for the photon overcharge, so it got taken out even more easily, and Miyako finally takes the first map for a 1-0 lead. Vani Research Station is the map that Koshkii chose after getting cannon rushed in the first game. She will now have to find something to come back into the series. It seems as if this time around Miyako's not up for those kind of shenanigans once more. Not a second cannon rush, but also no proxy, it seems. So we'll get a warp gate straight away. Ooh! Although, maybe she's up to something here. Pretty odd using this probe to scout in order to use the probe that built the gateway there. So I don't know if it was just a misclick there and Miyako just chose to use this probe other than the other one, but yeah, that was a little bit odd. So Koshkii also doing the same scout, and both probes actually meeting right in the middle of the map. The pathfinding AI didn't know for a moment where to go and into which direction to walk with whom here. So taking the 2 gases here immediately after the gateway, getting another gateway here. So it seems as if Miyako just wants to ramp up the aggression a little bit more. Koshkii still opening with a 2-gate opener as well, so I think there shouldn't be too much damage dealt by either of these players. Cybernetics core going down as well. And then we will have to see whether it's going to be double Adepts or double Stalker. In the meantime, Koshkii just checks for the back pocket expansion. It's not there yet, but so is her own. After investing so many resources into gateways and cybernetics core, of course you don't really have the money to do that, but Miyako already preparing some sort of proxy bullshit again. So let's see if it's going to work out again once more and what it's going to be. From the location, I'd rather go for Stargate and maybe an Oracle, but she could just hide something to warp in units as well for some sort of timing push. We'll see what it's going to be. So far, cybernetics core is already down, producing just one Stalker, and while Koshkii is already going for 2, so even investing more resources into early units. Mothership core already out for Koshkii. No mothership core. Oh, it's already out. Never mind. For Miyako, and here it goes down the proxy pylon. So I think for Stargate it's actually a little bit too late already. Usually if you want to go for a proxy Stargate, you would usually line it up with the cybernetics core, and once the cybernetics core finish, you just wait for the resources to come in and plant down the Stargate in order to get it as fast as possible. There's still the possibility to get it, and there it is, just a little bit later because you went for a little bit of a safer opener with the 2 gateways, just to counter 2-gate play of your opponent. So that's actually what Miyako did here, and thus of course the Stargate is now a little bit later than it could have actually been, but for the sake of being a little bit safer. Of course, building a Stargate right now will cause Miyako to just delay her base a little bit longer, while Koshkii can already take hers, and now she's of course dependent on dealing damage with the first unit that gets out of that Stargate, which is probably going to be an Oracle, but maybe it's Miyako, you know? She might actually want to break through with a lot of units and Void Rays. Yeah, there's the warp in point going down. It is indeed an Oracle, like I said before. There was a slight chance of a Void Ray, but it was pretty low. But yeah, there's the warp in point already, so we now see that Miyako actually does want to go all in on one base, I feel. Only having 2 gateways though, with a 3rd one coming up, and there's the 4th one. Okay, so never mind. 4-gate play with Stargate added as well. So Stargate support. Let's see how it's going to work out. I mean, it's a very small ramp that Koshkii needs to protect. She already has a sentry in place as well. She does not really know about that base anymore. That scout was way early, but she might actually expect her opponent to do something like that. So Oracle flying in. There are already a lot of Stalkers in place. Yeah, that's if we have watched Koshkii play PvP throughout the season, you should know that Koshkii actually is always pretty aware of the chance of Oracles, and she usually has Stalkers and Photon Overcharges in position everywhere when she plays a PvP. So there we have the final push. Oh, unfortunately for Koshkii, she didn't realize what was going on, was still occupied dealing with the Oracle, so that the Stalkers could actually walk up that ramp, kill off that sentry that could have easily blocked the ramp here, but has to retreat for now because of the Photon Overcharge and a few more Stalkers that were inside the base, waiting for another warp in round here. And there we have the Void Ray Red after the Oracle, so now everything moves in. The first pylon goes down as well. Ooh, unfortunately even wasting an overcharge here. Now maybe the Mothership core goes down as well. No, it doesn't. The Stalkers actually focus fire down the Void Rays, and another Photon Overcharge just forces Miyako to retreat once more. In the meantime, where's the Oracle? Is the Oracle still in the game, or did it get shut down? Seems as if Koshkii actually even got it somewhere, probably with her Stalkers or maybe with a Photon Overcharge. But yeah, there are still, since there's still a lot of energy left, I feel that the Photon Overcharge was not the weapon of choice. Now Miyako walking in once more, trying to take down. She has more Stalkers, but Koshkii has one more Photon Overcharge. The Void Ray also dealing some damage. Most of the Stalkers focus firing down the Void Ray, so they could get shot by the Stalkers quite easily, but the Stalkers were occupied taking down that pylon as well. So again, it seems as if Koshkii will be able to hold this, especially with the help of the Immortal, Immortals just shred Stalkers like crazy. So attacking upwards that ramp again and again gets more problematic for Miyako, but she knows she's all in. There's no way she can come back into that game by just building a base now and trying to play a macro game. Her opponent will just out-macro her, will walk across the map, and then eventually just kill her off. So that's no alternative. She needs to either break Koshkii here and now, or she can just tap out. I feel that Miyako might just go for another attack, and if it doesn't succeed, she will probably just tap out. Don't really know what she's waiting for. Okay, her own mothership core, maybe she just wants to build an additional pylon somewhere close in order to help her with her own photon overcharges, maybe? I don't really know what she really wants to do. Koshkii, in the meantime, sees everything, sees the army composition, sees the position of the army itself. Another Void Ray joining the fray, but it's just one more Void Ray at the same time. We have Koshkii just producing units like crazy as well, even getting upgrades in the meantime. So it seems as if Koshkii feels pretty comfortable in her own situation, knowing that she's far ahead and that she probably just needs to hold one more push. Now she even has a sentry in the fray, so she will be able to just cut off or cut the army into two whenever she wants, fighting off the units that come upwards the ramp and then just dealing with the rest of them later. And the longer this game goes, the more problematic for Koshkii, for Miyako it gets. Koshkii even sending the observer down to check if the third base or second base has actually already been taken. And now Koshkii even bold enough to walk down the ramp, taking out the warp-in pylon of Miyako here. Miyako, of course, has another warp-in pylon to the left-hand side where the Stargate is. Well, now just move on. Actually, that could have been the best thing that could have happened to Miyako. Now trapping the army outside where no photon overcharge is available. I think that is her best chance. If she can actually beat that army, she has to do it right now. Koshkii just frantically escaping from the army, trying to get upwards the ramp, back to the safety of her own main base, firing up that photon overcharge, but a lot of units have actually died. So that engagement was kinda okay for Miyako, but she's still down in supply like crazy. Most of that supply actually only being worker kills, or just being not worker kill, being workers here. So, getting into a Dark Shrine is Koshkii there. We have no detection whatsoever available for Miyako. She doesn't even have a robo here. No, she could actually produce an oracle and get the revelation down, but she's only investing into Void Rays. So yeah, I think once the Dark Templars are actually in the fray, I think Miyako will probably just tap out. She really needs like an overwhelming engagement. One engagement where she just actually kills off everything in one clean sweep. I think it would be a nice idea to actually get a sentry and then actually keep the units out of their own main base, surrounding them and killing them off. I think that would actually be the best thing she could do. Just getting a sentry. She has one in the fray, so let's see if she will be able to just close, maybe even engage from the right-hand angle in order to make sure that the ramp is closed. So now big engagement is up. The army tries to escape. Where's the force field? Well, unfortunately too late. The sentries were just too far behind. And like I said, that might have been actually that might have actually done the trick. But maybe she will be able to still do it. The Void Rays are killing off stuff so fast. Now it's only a few Immortals right inside that Time Warp here, getting shot at by the Void Rays. More and more units getting up. But of course, Koshkii has finally managed to get her DTs up. And the DTs actually might be the saving grace. But unfortunately, the DTs not so good in killing off air units, since they can't even attack them. The Mothership Core dies as well. And now the Void Rays are reigning free inside the main base. But the only units that are still left on the ground are none for Miyako. So actually the Stalkers might be able to focus firing down the Void Rays. Void Rays, unfortunately for Koshkii, already have recharged, so they can use their charge once more, killing off Stalkers even faster than usual. Finally, Koshkii manages to take out the Mothership Core of Miyako. Miyako tries to fly into the natural base, taking out units left and right as she can, but now unfortunately gets sandwiched by 6 Stalkers, and the Void Rays die as well. So, more and more Zealots being warped in, trying to attack the third base, but we already have the Dark Templars warping in at that point. Nothing she can actually do against the Dark Templars, and I think that should be it. Koshkii has finally managed to stabilize and hold everything off. There are not even that many resources inside Miyako's base. GG, and Koshkii ties the series 1-1. Welcome to Echo, our third map of this best of 5. We have Koshkii to the bottom right, who just managed to tie the series 1-1. And we have our French player Miyako up to the left and top. Don't forget that Miyako is not playing her main race this season. She decided to play Protoss. Terran is the race she usually plays, and the race she plays best, as we could all witness last season. So going for Gateway and then into Gas, same over here for Koshkii. So standard opening for both players. Nothing all too fancy, but yeah, everyone who knows Miyako knows that she is a sort of aggressive player. And she just likes to be in the face of her opponent. So we can always expect something out of her. Let's see what she wants to do this time around. So second gateway being built again. Same for Koshkii, 2 gateway opening. Also pretty standard for Protoss, pretty safe, of course. You can be aggressive if you just figure out that your opponent is not going to gate, but you can just also be defensive if you want to, if you figure out that your opponent is also going to gate. So you can just decide, you just have the choice whatever you want to do. One gateway builds have become kind of risky. If your opponent really gets aggressive, maybe even with proxying buildings, then they sometimes can just outproduce you unit-wise, and then it can be kind of tricky to defend yourself and defend your base. So Koshkii in the meantime managed to scout everything, has seen the double gateways, that's the only thing she needs to know. Might actually just want to come back later in order to see whether there is a third pylon or not inside the main base, because if there isn't, it means that there must be another pylon somewhere out on the map. Doing some proxy shenanigans, so Miyako wants to expand, while... oh no, doesn't want to expand, never mind. Miyako wants to block the expand, that was actually what I wanted to say, while Koshkii is coming home with her own probe. So probe now moving out. Yeah, Miyako just checking for potential proxy locations and is now sending her 2 adepts across the map. And in the meantime, we have mostly Stalker production for Koshkii, so I think Koshkii should be able to deal with these adepts quite easily. Stalkers outrange adepts, and they are also pretty quick, so even if the adepts shade around, these Stalkers are to follow quickly. And in a direct engagement, these Stalkers are superior to the adepts. So I think there should be no big problem. Of course, unless Koshkii is a little bit out of position once the adepts finally get in. But interestingly enough, Miyako just sends them in to check for the third base, making them close to the Stalkers, but then of course lets the shade finish as she sees that most of the units are actually somewhere else. So actually gets a probe kill over here already, maybe a second one, no, but then we'll probably have to phase out the Mothership Core, plus the Stalkers are already on their way, but like I said before, 2 more Stalkers out already, so she will probably be able to pick off these adepts, and the other 2 will already have to escape. Actually, I think Koshkii could go for some sort of counter-aggression right now, but she decides not to, rather wants to expand and keep her expand safe. So, in the meantime, we have the robotics facility incoming for Miyako. Let's see what she really wants to do with it. Probably, first off, it's going to be Immortal Production, or maybe a Warp Prism, or maybe even an Observer. No, probably not. Observer would be pretty uncommon at that point in time. So, Sentry, again, being produced by Koshkii here. Probably just wants to make sure that she has something to seal off ramps if need be. Maybe even against ETs. So then we have a robotics facility and a robotics bay right behind it. Okay, that was the other thing I was thinking about with a few robotics facility. I just didn't dare to say it. But the robotics bay, so we will probably see some sort of disruptor drops maybe. Or she actually wants to go into early Colossi. Was that Miyako the last time around? I think she went for Colossi drops, no? I think there was one game where she wanted to... Or was it Koshkii? Was it Koshkii who wanted to go for Colossus drops? I just can't remember. Someone wanted to go for Colossi drops, but it didn't quite work out against the opponent. I think it was Koshkii against the Zerg player. I think it was Koshkii against Tsuno, no? Yes, it was Koshkii against Tsuno on Overgrowth. She wanted to go into She wanted to go into Colossi drops, but Suna unfortunately crushed through her defenses before that, I think. Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just mixing things up, but I think that just was the game. So, Miyako has the Warp Prism out. Let's see what she actually wants to do. No, it's Disruptor drops. So that was actually the thing I was expecting to happen. And if she can't drop the Disruptors, she can still use them defensively. So very early Disruptors here from Miyako, even getting the Gravitic Drive, the speed upgrade for Warp Prisms. So this makes it a definite thing, where she just wants to use the mobility of the Warp Prism in order to deal some damage to Koshkii's main base. So let's see how this is going to work out. She's already... she already has 2 Adepts inside the base. Okay, that's just the scouting. Okay, Koshkii now sees that the Disruptor is already out. So they are the first few Adepts. We have 2 Stalkers in position, so I think the Adepts shouldn't be able to deal that much damage. But Miyako, doesn't really care about the life of those 2 units. I think she just mostly wants to deal probe damage, but then decides against it and gets them into the Warp Prism once more. Probably wants to use them later on. Now just flies back in order to load up the Disruptor, I feel. Yeah, probably just, I mean, have a look at how fast this friggin' Warp Prism is. I mean, that is a friggin' fast-ass unit. Have a look at that. Yeah, now just loading up the first Disruptor. We'll probably just wait for the second one as well. We'll take it with it. And then we will see how much damage Miyako can actually deal with 2 Disruptors in the fray. I mean, Koshkii knows that Disruptors are out. She's seen the Warp Prism. She hasn't seen how fast it is. But I think she should be aware of what is going on. Still, she only has 1 pylon over here. She has Immortals there, but Immortals actually pretty bad against Disruptor shots. If they hit correctly and the... barrier is not triggered at the right moment. This could really be problematic. So let's see. Seems as if Miyako just wants to keep her opponent busy while dropping right behind it. So what is actually going on? Where's the drop? Where's the drop? There it is. Has she already managed to get some damage done? I don't know. It's really a little bit odd. Seems as if she just wanted to keep her opponent busy while unloading the Disruptors and then shooting Disruptor balls into the mineral line, but I don't see that she's actually hit anything of importance there, and we don't even see if workers get killed. Well, she managed to kill 8 workers, so maybe she actually hit something and we just didn't see it. Okay, don't know why it actually didn't show up. It usually does inside. It usually shows a message over here that workers got killed, but that's a bit odd. And there again, okay, we have 1 big shot here, everything just blows. Ooh, nice little shot over to these few probes over here. And Miyako has to be careful, doesn't want to let her Warp Prism get shot down, but there's actually only a few anti-air units, and the Warp Prism has speed, so there's no problem. Ooh, that might have actually been a bad move out of Koshkii here. But Miyako decides not to unload inside the main base. I think she might have actually been able to do so, but the Disruptor balls would have probably not been able to get inside the mineral line anyway, so I think she decided against it. But yeah, that's of course pretty risky here. Now sending in the Disruptor balls, not close enough to destroying any probes here. I mean, she still keeps her opponent busy, but Koshkii just does the best thing she can do and just tries to pull her opponent back. Whoa, that's almost a big Disruptor shot, but unfortunately it just got cancelled. The 1 Disruptor got shot down before the Purification Nova could actually explode. The other one got loaded in, thus cancelling the Disruptor shot. So, Koshkii just going for the counterattack, saying herself, well, if you have that many units inside my main base, or these important AoE damage-dealing units inside my own base, I might as well just attack you with what I have, try if I can deal some damage over here. So Koshkii with the Warp Prism micro quite nicely here, saving that Archon. And now we have a lot of fights going on, where Miyako just tries to save her Disruptors mostly. I mean, Disruptors still pretty good if they hit something, not so good once they expended their shot and have to wait for the next one to reload. So here's another Disruptor shot. Will be able to hit something? No! Koshkii just again using the Warp Prism for her advantage. Another Disruptor shot coming in from behind, killing off the warping in, the units that are warping in, cancelling the warp in. So Koshkii will actually have the chance to just warp in a few units right behind it with the remaining gate at home, and will now be able to take off, or to take out Miyako's 3rd base, but hasn't taken a 3rd of her own. Miyako now gathering up a lot of resources here, a lot of minerals and gas. Another Disruptor has been produced. Her own army is actually pretty... Where is her own army? I mean, does she even have one? Yeah, there it is. There's a little bit of an army. We have another warp prism. We have a lot of disruptors. So let's see how this is actually going to work. I mean, Koshkii has to be careful when if she wants to engage upwards that ramp. It's always pretty difficult against disruptors because you always have to be aware that disruptor shots can just wait on top of the ramp, destroying a big chunk of your units. But Koshkii wants to go full aggression, wants to end the game on 2 bases, just walks forward mostly with speedlots over here. Speedlots also making it a bit difficult to engage because the speedlots just close the range towards the disruptors so easily, and then it's also pretty difficult to actually get a good shot on the zealots because you always risk of hitting your own disruptors because the zealots are so close to your own disruptors. And it seems as if Koshkii's plan actually works out. While the zealots are actually keeping busy most of the disruptors, the rest of the units just wreck everything inside Koshkii's base, and Miyako has to give up. Koshkii takes the 3rd game for a 2-1 lead. Daybreak is the map that Miyako chose. In order to get back into the game, she needs to win 2 in a row in order to take that best of 5, and that is something that almost no player has succeeded throughout the season. Some managed to make it, but it's always been a difficult task. So let's see if Miyako, who's actually the purple player, will be able to do that, or if Koshkii, who's leading 2-1, will win this series with a 3-1, securing herself the #1 spot in the FSL season ranking, going into the playoffs, 1st place, undefeated so far. Or if Miyako will be able to break that record, to break that win streak, and make Koshkii suffer her 1st loss. If one can do it, it's Miyako, the unpredictable French player. Let's see if she can do it or not. So Koshkii already moving out, Miyako not moving out at all, just waiting and waiting, no scout, no proxy, no nothing. Seems as if she just wants to expand as quickly as possible. Just gets out 1 gateway, gets into Cybernetics Core right away, this time no 2-gate opening. Let's see how Koshkii is going to respond, checking the exteriors of her bases for proxy positions, interior and exterior. So sees nothing is up, and now just drives across the map. What do probes actually do? They don't walk? They don't drive? I think they glide, right? They hover above the ground a little bit. So you should think glide. Probes are probably gliding towards the opponent. So Koshkii has also seen that her opponent has not taken a base yet. Just went inside the main base. Saw that there was only 1 gateway and a Cybernetics Core. Cybernetics Core not researching anything. Don't really know what Miyako's up to here. Quite interesting though. Seems as if she just wants to expand for now as quickly as possible, as I said. So, and going into some sort of tech right behind it, but we can't really say which tech right now. Koshkii just walking around the map, just checking typical proxy locations where a player might hit some tech or maybe a Stargate. So Adept is out, and Miyako as well, just using the Adept to scout every little part. I mean, this is really so interesting, and these 2 players just know each other so well. Both know that cheesy play is part of what they are capable of playing. They are both capable of playing an extensive macro game, but they are also capable of doing some Protoss bullshit and throwing it towards you. So both are just scouting like crazy, just having a look at every typical proxy location possible, trying to figure out what their opponent is doing. And maybe that was just the end of the route, or maybe that's just the position that Koshkii wants to use now to get a warp-in pylon and maybe a warp-in gateway for the quicker walkmans. So Oracle will only be done in just a few seconds for Koshkii here, and then she will probably just send it across the map to deal some damage inside the main base of Miyako. She already has 1 Stalker in position, but 1 Stalker of course will still take some time to kill off an Oracle, and in that time the Oracle might actually still be able to do enough damage. But there's again the robotics bay pretty quickly after the robotics facility. So it seems as if Miyako again wants to go into disruptor drops. It didn't work last time. Don't know if it's going to work any better this time, but Miyako sure wants to try. And like I said before, if there's someone who can make it happen, it is Miyako. So Oracle also trying to get in and dealing some damage. Let's see. Like I said, 2 Stalkers now in position. I still think that this Oracle should be able to just get 1 or 2 probe kills, but Koshkii doesn't really want to stay long enough in order to find out. So she just gets 1 probe killed and flies out immediately, waiting for maybe a better chance later on. In the meantime, we have the Warp Prism already flying across the map, and a Void Ray follow-up for Koshkii here, while we already have the first Disruptors being produced. So it seems as if, ooh, Warp Prism gets spotted by Koshkii's worker over here. And now we have the Void Ray, I think there was just, no, actually she wanted to do that. Okay, Void Ray already in position. Will probably be able, well, Warp Prisms are so fast, man. Just outrunning the Void Ray easily here. So Koshkii will probably just get away. Koshkii is already, Miyako will get away with that Warp Prism. Koshkii is already readjusting the route of her Void Ray, but we have some slow warp-ins at least, close to Miyako's second base. Let's see if she will actually be able to deal some damage here. Koshkii also going pretty all in here on 1 base this time around. Wants to give Miyako a taste of her own medicine. Let's see if this is going to work. So we have 1, Koshkii just tried to throw down a stasis ward, but Miyako sniffed it out right away and destroyed it with her own Stalker. She already has 1 Disruptor out. I think a second one should be in production. No, it's actually an Immortal here. Miyako changed up a little bit, but yeah, the 1 Disruptor shot can actually kill everything off on the ground. Miyako needs a few more Stalkers. Well, she has 4 with good focus firing. She might actually be able to take this down. 2 Photon Overcharge go down, and there's actually the Disruptor shot. Good, taking out at least 2 of these Stalkers down here. With the Immortal in the fray, I think the ground forces shouldn't be the real big problem, but of course the Void Rays are still here uncontested. The pylons have gone down already, and also the Mothership core, so Miyako does not really have any possibilities to take out these Void Rays right now. Only these 4 Stalkers, now it's at least 6, but she's also supply blocked. So while Koshkii is actually warping in more and more units, and we also have some ground units to protect the Void Rays from the Stalkers getting closer to them, this seems to be a very desperate situation there for Miyako. Miyako now just tries to get more of her army units down towards that ramp here. I don't know if she can actually defend it. Now even pulling the probes, trying to shoot down the Void Rays over here. I mean, the only thing she really needs to do is hold. In the meantime, she has the Warp Prism inside the main base of Koshkii, but unfortunately doesn't have the time to warp any units in. Now she finally manages to warp in some Zealots, but they can't warp in because Koshkii just barely takes out the Warp Prism before the warp in can finish. And this is looking like a very desperate situation here for Miyako now. I mean, she's up in supply, but the army supply is pretty even. 1 Photon Overcharge goes down, so the army of Koshkii just gets driven back by a little more. That's the actually the more problematic thing here. Miyako had the Stargate actually closer towards her own position, towards the front, and could more easily reinforce with Void Rays, but Koshkii doesn't. And now the army is finally making its breakthrough, driving all of Koshkii forces away. And now, of course, that's Miyako's game to lose, I feel. She still has the base up. Yes, she's lost a lot of workers, but Koshkii doesn't even have a base up. And her main base is pretty dry. I mean, same with Miyako, of course, since she has been maining from the main base as much as Koshkii has. But yeah, she already has her second base up. She can just easily produce 2 workers in 1 turn in order to saturate this base, while Koshkii will still have to wait for her own base to get up. In the meantime, it seems as if Miyako is even preparing for some sort of counter push. Don't really know if she should do it or can really break through. I think it might be pretty problematic. Koshkii not investing into any forces right now. I mean, maybe another Void Ray or even a 3rd one could do wonders against the army of Miyako. It's 36 to 30 for a supply, but we have some Immortals in the mix, while Koshkii mostly has Stalkers here, and I think actually less than Miyako has. Yes, she does. So, I think this Void Ray and the Pylon might be her saving grace. Miyako not too certain on whether she should attack right now, is just taking down the debris over here. Don't know if she really wants to engage once more. This will be a pretty problematic thing here. I mean, yes, she can take out the ground forces faster than her opponent, but under the fire of Photon Overcharge and also a charged up Void Ray, it could get pretty problematic. Koshkii investing into another Void Ray here, and with a second Void Ray out, I feel it should be pretty problematic. But Miyako has another Warp Prism, now forcing the army to split, or not split, and just leaving this one here pretty vulnerable. Okay, now splits up a little bit, has some forces inside the main base to deal with the Adept Harassment, but also a small force only down here. Miyako is not attacking, is still standing close towards that Xel'Naga tower. A little bit of a pity here. I think she could have easily taken out that army with the rest of the remaining forces, but of course Koshkii planned pretty well, left the Mothership Core around to set a Photon Overcharge, and she also has a Void Ray here as well, so Miyako didn't want to commit, and it has probably been the wisest decision here, taking a third base of her own right behind it. And yeah, finally Koshkii got up her second base, but Miyako has a second base already saturated. Okay, I don't know what that actually was. The Warp Prism got attacked here for a little bit, probably only by that hallucinated Phoenix over here. Don't actually know why Koshkii is not taking out that Warp Prism. It's probably not even really spotted in, although the hallucinated Phoenix probably just passed by that Warp Prism, but it seems as if she hadn't really noticed. Now finally realizes where it is and shoos it away with the Stalker force. So Miyako moving forwards. The Phoenix is coming back after having the third base scouted. Now even sees where Miyako's Warp Prism is, and maybe has even seen the rest of the army just moving in. So, seems as if Koshkii actually wants to take a third base of her own as well. She's still far behind, but if she actually manages to hold this push and maybe get the third base up, she might be a whoa, big disruptor hit right inside the nuts, ladies and gentlemen. Ow, that actually hurt like a lot. And yeah, this army is going down. No way for Koshkii to hold this. The Mothership Core is down as well, so no Photon Overcharge. The rest of the army goes down. GG, and Miyako takes the fourth map and ties the series 2-2. Nuclear Precinct. It's definitely the last map of the evening. It's 2-2, ladies and gentlemen. In this best of 5, only one more game to decide the winner of this match. Will Miyako, who's maybe trying to proxy something, will Miyako be able to break the winning streak of Koshkii? Or will Koshkii be able to win her 12th game in a row, thus securing herself the #1 spot in the Season 2 ranking, going into the playoffs as first player? Hyper! So, we have 2 gateways going up for Koshkii, and is that a gas steal? No, it's not. So, gas is up for Koshkii. Okay, Koshkii just desperately trying to fend off Miyako's probe here, is obviously expecting another cannon rush there. Actually pulling a lot of drones off of the mineral line here, so losing a lot of mineral time in the meantime. So Koshkii has already arrived at Miyako's base, seeing that there's only a gateway and another gateway, plus another cybernetics core. So Miyako in the meantime just using her probe to tug it back at some point, making it ready for planting down a proxy pylon and later on a proxy building. Probably another Stargate, I think. I mean, this is actually a pretty common spot, so if Koshkii actually decides to scout some more, she should be able to find this. Another pretty common spot for oracles of a Stargate proxy place is of course this location over here, because it's so close towards the main base, and the oracle will only take a few seconds in order to get to the mineral line and spread desperation. So there she should see it. No! Just barely missed it! But we'll see it right now. Okay, just barely just barely gets the information. Wow, Koshkii, that was so close. Oh, look at that clicking! Just look at all the clicking going down right there. Koshkii just frantically, no, there was something. Click, 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 click. What is there? And really wants to see what's up. Scouts the proxy of Miyako and shoos the probe away. Of course, the danger of a proxy has not gone yet, but Miyako wants to expand, doesn't really want to invest another probe to send it over and build the proxy later on. She will still maybe be able to use it later if she just plants down another production facility over there, but never mind. Koshkii just really wants to get rid of that pylon, sends out the first few stalkers and will kill it off eventually, while the first few adepts of Miyako will now of course have the possibility to walk inside the main base with these two stalkers still occupied, so she might have a little timing window where she might be able to deal some damage to these units over here. Not that much, there's still a stalker in position, and also a mothership core with two pylons and enough energy for photon overcharge. So yeah, I think Miyako won't really be able to deal that much damage. Maybe get a probe kill or two, but probably not even one. Okay, focus firing down at least one, even getting a second one. Nice, like I said. So she might have been able to do that, and she was, but of course losing both of her adepts for it was maybe not worth the sacrifice. I mean, 2 adepts for 2 probes. Yeah, 2 probes hurt early on, but I think 2 adepts early on hurt even more. Koshkii actually with a later expand. Miyako's expansion already done here, and she's sending across, she's sending 2 more adepts across the map already. Stalker meeting in the middle of the map, but 1 Stalker alone will not be able to take 2 adepts, so Koshkii Stalker just running away, being the quicker unit here, and Miyako lets the shades end, or lets the shades finish, so she will just get closer to the natural base, sees the pylon, might actually be able to take it out before it warps in, which would be a small victory in itself, but wants to get more worker kills here, unfortunately running right into that photon overcharge here. So again, might probably just get only 1 or 2 probes, maybe this time around, not even 1, just getting 1 more. So, was it 1 more, or was it actually 2 more? Ooh, actually 6 worker kills in total here. Don't really know where the others were from. Probably has even gotten one of the scouting probes off Koshkii here. Otherwise I can't really explain where all these dead probes come from. So, killing off the Stalker at the natural base as well. Ooh, unfortunately a lot of probes not working, being lazy French probes here. And that's not my saying, that's Miyako's saying. So, don't get the wrong impression of me. In the meantime, we have more Immortals incoming for Koshkii, and a Twilight Council for Miyako. Might even be going into either Blink or DTs, so that's going to be pretty interesting. Or even Glaives. Maybe Glaives for the Adepts, but going mass Adepts after seeing that your opponent is already going for Stalkers? No. So it's going to be Blink. And probably Blink Stalkers later on, so we'll probably see Miyako warping in more and more Stalkers time after time. Koshkii already producing the counter towards this with the help of the Immortals, but of course having a good Blink Stalker force and also good Blink Stalker micro hitting at the right time, the Immortals might not even make a difference here, so we'll see how this is actually going to work out. Nice scout there by Koshkii with the hallucinated Phoenix sees the army composition, also sees how far the saturation of the second base has already run to, and yeah, actually, I mean, Koshkii is looking real nice. She has even 2 more workers than her opponent. Her income is a little bit better as well, despite taking the base way later than her opponent, planting down a pylon to help defending against pushes from that angle. And actually, everything's quite even, with a small advantage for Koshkii, I'd say. We get the Blink advantage for Miyako, but Koshkii is going into into charge lots, and that could cause a big problem for Miyako actually. I mean, Blink is good, but charge lots just come back to Stalkers pretty quickly, and this might actually cause a big problem. Zealots are actually way cheaper than Stalkers. You can mass them way easier. And like I said, I mean, if you just close in, the Stalkers can of course set off 1 shot, then they will have to blink back, or otherwise they will have to fight against speed lots, which they really don't want to do, and then they will probably just have to blink back, but after the blink, the Zealots will just close the distance immediately right afterwards. And yeah, Zealots also the counter to Immortals, speed lots especially, so this could get pretty problematic. Let's see how this fight is actually turning out. I mean, both players have pretty good micro. With maybe an edge to Miyako here, but Miyako's micro is mostly restricted to Terran. She's of course still a good micro player, so she will still be able to just macro her her stalkers to the best of her ability and will still be a big threat. But we'll see how actually everything is going to work out. Runs right into the third base. Koshkii immediately realizes she can't hold that and cancels the base. So Miyako retreats for now, having gotten the damage she already wanted to have. Should actually take a third base herself, I think. So we'll now try to get into there, but I don't really know if that's the best plan. I mean, there are two pylons, there's a lot of energy for photon overcharge. Nice little move there with the force fields. Unfortunately, not getting too many units trapped here in order to take them out. So I don't really see Miyako dealing much damage here. I think the best thing she can hope for is containing her opponent inside her natural base while taking a third. So that's just the best thing she can do right now. Has to be careful not to stay outside of Koshkii's base for too long. Not reinforcing, because then maybe the army will suddenly crush her own and run across the map and kill everything. So it has to be careful. Koshkii managed to sneak out a probe. Tries to retake the third base. So will again only be behind on her third base a little bit more than Miyako here. Trying to get into Templar Archives, Koshkii that is, so getting the good old Zealot Immortal Archon mix of units, which is, I have to say it again, pretty much the hard counter against Blinkstalker builds. So let's see. I mean, now Miyako also is getting charge, but the charge for Koshkii is already done. Also getting the Robotics Bay up. We'll probably try to get into Disruptors once more. But we've seen in a game before how problematic Disruptors can be against Speedlots. So let's see. There we have him. Speedlots just running forward. Koshkii unfortunately not really reacting with most of her army, while Miyako's army is already attacking. Most of the Speedlots are already dead before the rest of the army actually engages. And now we have Miyako with a big army lead here. Of course, the Immortals just wrecking from behind. Look at the damage dealt by these Immortals. Seems as if Miyako just underestimated the damage that the Immortals would actually do to her army. That was mostly Stalker based, so now she has to retreat. And that was actually a big and good engagement for Koshkii here, getting the supply lead with 20 supply, and most of that being the army lead. Wow, that was actually the best thing that could have happened, but Miyako producing the comeback unit, the supposed comeback unit with the Disruptors. So let's see if she will be able to turn the game around once more. She's quite behind now, and more workers being lazy. I don't know if she can actually make it happen once more. I mean, Speedlots are also pretty problematic if you want to play Disruptors, which I think Miyako wanted to do. Because if Speedlots actually charge in and you send a Disruptor ball right behind it, you might actually end up killing your own Zealots and not really hurting the opponent that much. When behind. Dark Shrine, so we have Miyako going into Dark Shrine as well. Maybe for harassment, probably for both. Probably for harassment as well as Archon play. So now just managing to get a Warp Prism inside Koshkii's main base, driving off the workers from the mineral line, even killing a few of them, but not really that much damage dealt. 10 workers have been killed already in the meantime by Miyako here. Okay, Koshkii taking a fourth already, while Miyako is still pretty behind on a fourth. And like I said, there we have the first Disruptor and a lot of Zealots here. So another warp in over here, it seems. Trying to harass a little bit more with the Adepts. The left hand side, there are no units to defend right here. Only one Zealot getting warped in, another Zealot as well. But yeah, actually getting some kills. Also again driving away the probe from mining. So buying herself some time, and Miyako in the meantime has caught up quite well. So nicely done by her, just doing a little harassment here and there, getting herself back into the game. But the biggest problem, of course, in the long run is this fourth base. And Koshkii is fourth almost halfway done, or more than halfway done. Miyako just trying to get it up. I think the upgrades also are a lot better for Koshkii here. Upgrades not really that important if Disruptor shots hit. So, it's again, I mean that's just almost like in Wings of Liberty. But in Wings of Liberty, our Disruptors were High Templar. So either your storms hit and everything just melted or your storms didn't hit against Terran, for example, and you were just fucking dead. So this is the Disruptor now. So either the Disruptor either the Disruptor shots hit, and you actually survive that battle, or they don't. So Miyako not firing any Disruptor shots. Now they finally get in, getting some good shots onto these Immortals, unfortunately not destroying any of them. And most of Koshkii's army survive, while Miyako just has to be on a full retreat. Will probably just end up losing all of these Stalkers. At least her Dark Templars get in, but it seems as if she had some vision somewhere I just didn't see. But the Dark Templars get cleared up as well, and here we have it, the Speedlons just closing the distance towards the Disruptors once more, just as we've seen on the game on, was it Overgrowth? I think it was Overgrowth, where it also happened, and everything gets ravished and annihilated inside the natural base. We have a small attack of Dark Templars inside the main base for some harassment, but there is an observer around, so these units will be cleaned up no problem. At the same time, Koshkii has already found the 4th base of Miyako as well, so she will probably not be able to defend that as well. The biggest problem is that she doesn't have a standing army anymore. It's 54 army supply to 17, and even if there are Dark Templars out, and Koshkii of course cannot have detection everywhere, maybe Miyako might be able to stabilize at some point, but she's lost the 3rd base over here. She's down on workers, she's down on bases, she's down on army, she's down on upgrades. I just can't see her winning in the long run. I mean, buying some time is nice, but if there is no future to build to, it doesn't really matter. Miyako still trying to fight the best she can, transferring some probes towards the 3rd base, but another attack wave is already hitting her main. We have 1 Dark Templar in here, but the Observer is already above the army, and now this natural base will die as well. It doesn't even matter that there's a 3rd base out anyways. Miyako just desperately sending a few more Dark Templars towards the 3rd base, might even be able to take to find the 5th base here and take it out, but it doesn't really matter. In the meantime, Koshkii just destroys the natural, now moves into the main base. There's nothing here to defend this. We have an observer, even 2 observers close by, so DTs are not the answer as well. All of the attack is going to die. More and more harassment by Miyako though, taking out the 3rd base over to the left hand side, trying to move in with a few more Dark Templars, but Koshkii just has observers everywhere. My god, and even some cannons here, so even this DT harassment does not work out at all. In the meantime, the units just destroying Miyako's main base. 29 supply to 119, ladies and gentlemen, and it seems as if Koshkii has done it once more, winning this game with a 3-2 and taking her well-deserved 1st spot in the Season 2 ranking of the Female Starcraft League, going into the playoffs as rank 1 player. GG, congratulations, and Koshkii takes the game 3-2.